Now it's come out that the governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee, is pushing for a red flag gun confiscation law or an extreme risk protection order law, whatever he wants to call it. I'd say for short, if you're going to write your legislators, I'd just refer to it as a red flag protection order law. I'd strongly suggest you write your state senator and state representative, tell them a red flag protection order law is extremely unacceptable, and you will never support them if they're going to, support that kind of betrayal. Because at this point, why even vote GOP if Republicans in a state like Tennessee, where they have a, super majority, are going to embrace something as egregiously unconstitutional, as Orwellian as a red flag gun confiscation law? They don't work. California's had a red flag law in the books. They've still had mass shootings in California. Again, it makes no sense when they want to go take guns from people that are supposedly dangerous people, but leave the supposed dangerous person free to go about and move freely in society, to plan whatever they want, unsupervised. But everything's supposed to be okay because you went and took their guns. No, it's an excuse for gun confiscation. And I want y'all to think about something real careful here. Now, I want you to ask yourself something. Why do you think it is that these corrupt politicians like Joe Biden and their pretend Republican shills like Bill Lee want red flag gun confiscation laws on the books so badly? It's not because they care about the safety of the people or children. I mean, come on, we all know how corrupt Joe Biden is, and he's been pushing red flag laws hard. Well, I think the answer can be found, or rather illustrated very well, if we go back in time to an incident in 2013 involving a man named James Yeager. Now, most of you who watch my channel probably already know who he is, but this video is not about him. Love him or hate him, that's not the point of the video. He said things I agree with, and he said things I disagree with. He's dead now. May peace be to his soul. Well, back in 2013, Biden was vice president, and he was encouraging Obama to do an executive order on guns, even hinting at a possible gun ban. Well, James Yeager released a video responding to it and saying he was not going to let anybody take his guns, he was not putting up with it, and that he was going to fight back. I mean, a lot of us agree that he should have worded his video better. Even he said the same later down the road. But at the same time, all of us with an IQ above room temperature knew exactly what he meant. He was not talking about harming innocent people or anything like that. But that didn't stop the state of Tennessee from suspending his handgun carry permit and claiming that he was a danger to the public, right? And don't think that those bureaucrats won't use that same process to come red flag you. You know, he got a lot of people riled up saying they were with him, going, yeah, I'm tired of it. We're not letting them take our guns either, man. We're with you. Right? I mean, because he was basically just saying the same old NRA line from my cold dead hands, but just in a more inflammatory, angry way. And the state didn't like that. So don't think that those same bureaucrats in the state government, those same politicians, won't use that same process to red flag you. Oh, you're riling up people in support, saying they don't want to give up their guns and that you'll fight back if the government comes to take your guns. Well, that means we need to come take your guns. And it's a way to normalize gun confiscation among the populace and pacify the populace and just accept it as normal and not, unite people that might spark something bigger, as that incident illustrated. People were with him and, he got people riled up on his side. Oh, that guy said something crazy. Oh, it's okay. We're not messing with you. We're just taking his guns. And then after they do disarm the loudest people and the people that are most willing to speak out, the people that are most willing to fight back, then come for everybody else. So that should illustrate right there why this is a bad idea and that it will be abused. This shows you the mentality of the bureaucrats who will be enforcing a red flag gun confiscation order if passed. And don't think that just because you don't live in Tennessee that it's not going to affect you. If this kind of nonsense can pass and be tolerated in a state like Tennessee with a Republican supermajority and a supposed Republican governor, then it can spread like cancer anywhere else. Greg Abbott of Texas didn't fold after Uvalde, and advocate for a red flag law. And Texas is supposed to be one of those states that's a little more on the verge of going blue potentially. Tennessee is supposed to be more solidly red. So again, if you don't want to be red flagged, and have those bureaucrats do what they did to James Yeager and do that to you, but instead of just suspending your permit, they're coming to take your guns, I would strongly suggest you do everything in your power to stop this nonsense. And I've reached out to Jared from Guns and Gadgets, and, I don't know why he's not covering it yet since he moved to Tennessee. But this is very, very dangerous, and we cannot allow this to pass. But anyway, watch and see for yourself what they did to James Yeager over political speech.
Hi, this is James Yeager for Tactical Response, and I'm kind of mad right now. I just got a news update. Today is the 9th of January 2013, that Vice President Biden is asking the president to bypass Congress and use executive privilege, executive order to ban assault rifles, to impose stricter gun control. Fuck that. I'm telling you that if that happens, it's going to spark a civil war, and I'll be glad to fire the first shot. I'm not putting up with it. You shouldn't put up with it. And I need all you patriots to start thinking about what you're going to do. Load your damn mags, make sure your rifle's clean, pack a backpack with some food in it, and get ready to fight. I'm not fucking putting up with this. I am not letting my country be ruled by a dictator. I'm not letting anybody take my guns. If it goes 1 inch further, I'm going to start killing people. Of course, I was angry when I made the video, and probably should have metered my words better. I am not plotting to kill any officials or anything like that. I have no plans to do that. But the American Revolution is not that indifferent. The things that were going on during that time are not that different than what's going on right now. And I believe our forefathers would be turning over in their graves if they had any idea what we've let this country become. I don't mind paying my taxes. I don't mind doing everything that I'm required to do, I'm a law-abiding citizen, but I expect my constitutional rights to be left in place, and they have been eroded and eroded and eroded, and I've drawn a line in the sand. I was angry when I made that, and those were far-fetched statements, but the reality is that I feel that this country is headed for collapse in several different ways, economic and as well as political.
Lighting it, or what are you talking about?
Examples of what I'm talking about are outright gun confiscation, martial law, things like that. There are things going on in this country that should not be going on. They're not legal in any sense of the word. And I know I might be loud, and I understand that I'm radical, but there are a lot of people that are far more eloquent than I am and far more educated than I am that agree with me. The Second Amendment is the most clear amendment in the entire Bill of Rights, and it says shall not be infringed. It's the most clear and concise amendment that there is.
So don't think for a second that they won't do the same thing to you that they did to James Yeager, except instead of just suspending your carry permit, they're busting in your house and taking all your guns away. Now, the incident with James Yeager alone should show you why this is a terrible, terrible idea and that the state cannot be trusted with such power. And yet, the governor of that same state is pushing to have more power to take away your rights over an allegation. Then add on top of that we live in the day and age of cancel culture. And what greater canceling is there, aside from death, which could still happen as a result of a red flag order? That's what happened to Gary Willis in Maryland. But aside from that, what greater canceling is there than violating your most basic constitutional rights and stripping your best means of self-defense away? Now, there's all kinds of ways that these can be abused. There's more traditional means, like simply making a false allegation or exaggerating something you've said or done and intentionally twisting it out of context. But on top of that, add technology into the mix as well. We've all seen the fake tweets. We've seen where people's social media accounts have been hacked and their accounts had things posted on them that the person who owned the account did not actually post. But also, I was listening to one of the Black Pilled Insomnia streams over on Odyssey not too long ago, and one of the listeners on there submitted an audio clip created by AI, artificial intelligence, where they did the Black Pilled guy, Devin Stack, they did his voice, and it replicated his voice and made it sound as if Devin Stack was saying something that he did not actually say. So, I mean, if some random person on the internet has access to that kind of AI technology, I'm sure there's others out there who do as well. So you think if somebody who has a grudge against you, whether it be a petty neighbor, an ex-spouse, ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, or just some rabid anti-gun leftist, like the ones protesting and demanding your rights be violated at the Tennessee Capitol, you think if they go down to your local police department with some AI-created file of your voice saying something crazy, the police department's going to be like, yeah, the local PD is going to let's break out our investigative forensics team and analyze this audio clip and ensure that it's real. Again, there are multiple reasons that just scream this is a bad idea. And the politicians know it, but Bill Lee doesn't care. He's on his second term as governor. He ain't got to worry about being reelected for governor because he can't run again for governor. I don't know what his aspirations are after being governor. He may want to retire. He may have something planned. I don't know. But obviously, in terms of running for re-election, there's no risk to him politically. So that's even more reason to contact your legislators, especially if you live in Tennessee or any state this is happening in. And tell them, if you're going to support this kind of betrayal, I'm not going to support you anymore or any of the GOP. Because this is unacceptable. This level of betrayal is unacceptable, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these people trying to take away the rights of us and the rights of our children who haven't even grown to be able to appreciate them yet. So tell them that. And people can make excuses. The people who like to watch sports ball and just vote red team and, not really pay attention, they just vote red team and watch sports ball and stuff. They can make excuses and go, oh, it's not as bad as the Democrats. Okay, it doesn't matter. This level of betrayal is that unacceptable. That's like somebody saying they're going to let their wife stay after they caught their wife cheating on them with one or two guys. Because, at least that's not as bad as their neighbor whose wife cheated on them with 7 guys. Either way, it's unacceptable betrayal that you shouldn't tolerate if you have a pair. Should not tolerate that. So let's put a stop to this cancer and this betrayal now, before this cancer spreads. And before, it might be years down the road even. It might not be right after the law got passed if it were to pass. It could be, a year from after the fact, or it could be years down the road, or it could be your kids suffering, being the victim of a red flag law. Then to make matters worse, he's pushing for the General Assembly to rush this through the legislative process. And as we all know, some of the worst laws are ones that were rushed through the legislative process. I mean, we're almost halfway through April and the legislative session ends in May. It's very infuriating when you consider that anytime there's a pro-Second Amendment bill, it has to clear all these committees and have all this discussion before it can even be voted on. As an example of how petty they can be about it, constitutional carry in the past would often die in the Finance Committee. And one of the reasons being because they were concerned about how much money the state would lose in permit fees if they decided to respect your rights, because less people might get permits, supposedly. Let's put a stop to this, and let's not tolerate this unacceptable betrayal. No red flag laws in Tennessee.
That's where you can also find a statement just released by the Tennessee Firearms Association responding to the governor's executive order. TFA Executive Director John Harris writes, Governor Lee and the proponents of what he seeks are focused on unconstitutional gun control myths as a means of dealing with the more complicated problem of mental or emotional health. They appear interested in appeasing the mob stirred up by Representatives Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, and Gloria Johnson, rather than standing firm and protecting the rights that are protected by the Second Amendment.